At the end of 6 weeks, the polls say it, even a Conservative minister says it. Labour could be on the cusp of a record-breaking parliamentary majority. But Labour's leader, Sir Keir Starmer, was not leaving anything to chance today. On the final day of campaigning, he visited Wales, Scotland and England as he tried to secure a place in government, in Downing Street and in history for himself and his party. The Prime Minister campaigned in 2 Hampshire constituencies and managed to sandwich in an appearance on ITV. He countered the claim of his minister, Mel Stride, saying he was still fighting hard for every vote. More on Mr Sunak in a moment. First, though, the final stop on Sir Keir Starmer's election campaign that even he must now dare to think will take him to Downing Street.
At the start of this election, Labour mocked Rishi Sunak for not having an umbrella, so they made sure they had plenty in Carmarthenshire for the start of Keir Starmer's final dash round Britain.
Let's go out, let's do it. Thank you all so much.
He accused the Tories of trying to suppress Labour's vote with predictions of a Labour landslide.
Cabinet ministers are practically conceding defeat. Do you believe them?
No, we are fighting for every vote, and across the country there will be constituencies which will go down to the wire.
You admit there are many undecided voters. Your candidates tell me there are many undecided voters. Has your message been too cautious?
No, it's been realistic, but I know that we need to convince people that change is possible.
You're standing on the threshold of something big, whatever it is, something very big for you personally. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very pleased and confident. I want to now get on with the opportunity to roll up my sleeves and bring about the change which I think the country deserves.
For all the excitement here, there are still some last-minute Labour nerves about voters who are unconvinced, unengaged or undecided. And down the road in Carmarthen, it didn't take long to find them.
What do you think of him?
I'm still undecided. I'm swaying to Conservative.
Do you know who that is?
I voted for him. I did a postal vote.
You've already done it?
Yeah.
Starmer, is it?
That's Starmer, Keir Starmer, yeah.
That's the one, yeah.
What do you think of him?
Useless.
Sorry, we don't know who he is.
No. Don't recognise him. Have you heard of Keir Starmer?
No. Sorry, no.
Keir Starmer flew to Glasgow this afternoon. They know who he is here and they know what they're going to do tomorrow.
What are you going to do tomorrow?
This evening, Keir Starmer returned from Scotland to the West Midlands with one final endorsement under his belt. The Sun newspaper said it was backing Labour. And at one last rally in one last Tory-held seat, Redditch, he delighted his activists with this.
Imagine a Britain moving forward together with a Labour government. That is what we're fighting for. Let's continue that fight. If you want change, you have to vote for it. Vote Labour tomorrow.
This time tomorrow night, he'll start to find out if we did. Carl Dinner News at 10, Redditch.
Well, the sense that the Conservatives are heading for defeat was heightened by the woman Mr Sunak appointed and then sacked as Home Secretary. Suella Braverman said the writing was on the wall. It's over, she said in a newspaper article. We need to prepare for opposition. Mr Sunak had other ideas at his final rally tonight. This underdog will fight to the final whistle, he said.
Prime Minister Rishi Sunak.
What could be Rishi Sunak's last day in the most powerful job in the country started on ITV's This Morning, appearing after Britain's most tattooed mum, with one last mildly surprising thing to reveal.
Well, my favourite meal generally is sandwiches, so that is I'm a big sandwich person.
For a man on a last gasp push for survival, he didn't travel far, from London to a school in Hampshire, where the discussion wasn't about policy or voting either.
I love pepperoni, that's my favourite pizza.
With the polls not shifting for the Conservatives, the recriminations have begun early. Suella Braverman saying it's over and they must prepare for opposition. And one cabinet minister not just admitting likely defeat, but one like this.
There is a distinct possibility here of a landslide that's the largest that there's ever been in British electoral history.
Suella Braverman has said you need to prepare for opposition. Are you the only person left who thinks you still have a chance?
No, every vote matters tomorrow. Just 130,000 people could change the outcome of this election. That's what the latest analysis shows. So if people want lower taxes, they want their pensions protected, and they want to prevent a Labour supermajority, there's only one thing to do tomorrow, and that's to vote Conservative.
It has been a campaign few Tories will want to remember, from the moment the Prime Minister announced it in the rain to the long-lasting damage of leaving D-Day commemorations early and having to suspend these two candidates for allegedly betting on the election date. But the Tories are clinging to the hope that many have not yet made up their minds, and we did find some were still undecided on the streets near the school.
Just don't know which way I'm going to go. Probably not Tory.
Are you going to get into the polling booth and decide in there?
I will. I think it will be pressure on the spot, most likely.
I've always voted Conservative, but I'll be voting Reform.
Right. And there's nothing that Rishi Sunak said during the campaign that changed your mind?
No. Same old, same old.
The Prime Minister visiting only 2 seats today and at the schools spending more time with those not yet old enough to vote, while outside there are more Liberal Democrat campaigners than Conservatives. It feels like a campaign ending on more of a whimper than a bang.
Hello. Rishi. Good afternoon.
Some residents in Southampton were surprised by the Prime Minister himself turning up on their doorstep this afternoon. But the final event of the Prime Minister's eventful campaign had more of a valedictory than celebratory feel, with thanks to his watching parents.
I'm not just grateful to our country for everything it's done for me, I'm enormously grateful to my parents too.
And hugs for his wife. The bold action signs packed up for the last time. Waving goodbye, he jogged off, heading to his own constituency and whatever future the voters have for him tomorrow. Romilly Weeks, News at 10, Hampshire.
Well, there was a colourful finale to the Lib Dems campaign stunts of daring do. They were a little more sedate today, suitably yellow tractors and a pink Cadillac, as Sir Ed Davey brought his electioneering full circle back to social care.
After a campaign involving bikes, boats and bungee jumps, today the Liberal Democrats leader stuck to his big yellow bus. His feet stayed firmly on solid ground in territory he hopes will soon be Lib Dem. The excitement was clearly too much for some. This was the last in a string of stunts that were all part of a strategy designed to get people's attention.
Do you think voters have got confidence in you?
Well, we're getting a lot of really good responses on the doorstep. People across the home counties in the West Country, in rural Britain, from mid Wales to Scotland, are saying they're going to vote Liberal Democrat.
What would be a good result for you tomorrow night?
We're not putting a ceiling on our ambitions. We clearly want to at least be the third party in Parliament. We can overtake the SNP in number of MPs, so our voice will be heard even more loudly. Here we go.
But have the Lib Dems been heard on policy or just seen for their stunts? And have they done enough in constituencies like Chippenham to drive through the Tory blue wall?
Not everyone's been on board with how Ed Davey has carried out his campaign, but he's actually told us himself that he thinks doing these stunts has given him more opportunity to talk about policy during this campaign than he's ever had before.
Come on, my sweetheart.
One of those policies also has a deeply personal meaning for the Lib Dem leader. Ed Davey has spoken candidly about caring for his 16-year-old son, John, who lives with severe disabilities, and the battles he and his wife have faced to get him the support he needs.
Could not be more passionate and determined to sort out caring in this country.
Those serious messages have sometimes sat awkwardly alongside the silly stunts. They'll soon find out whether any of it has cut through. Chloe Keedy, News at 10.
The Reform UK leader Nigel Farage was campaigning this evening in Essex. He led chants of "We want our country back," and he got the loudest cheers for his comments on immigration. Harry joins us now from Essex. How confident are they really of winning seats then, Harry?
Well, we've been following the Reform campaign around for the last 6 weeks, and I think it's fair to say as this campaign's gone on, Nigel Farage has become increasingly confident about his party's chances of winning a handful of seats, despite the fact in the past few weeks they've had to defend controversial comments, apologise for controversial comments made by some Reform candidates. Today, Nigel Farage was at a boxing club saying his party is well within the fight in tomorrow's election. He wants to reshape the right of British politics over the next 5 years. And he said today, for that to happen, his party does need to get some MPs elected tomorrow.
It's very tough to call what's going to happen. The thing we can't measure, and the polls can't measure, is the youth vote. You know, are all these people online, the millions of them who've been very supportive, are they actually going to go and vote? I don't know. Success looks like many, many millions of votes. That's pretty much guaranteed, I think, and a bridgehead in Parliament.
The Reform campaign's been a bit quieter this week. We haven't seen any big nationwide campaigning. Instead, candidates have been in a select few constituencies, knocking on doors, trying to persuade voters to come out so the party can actually get some MPs elected tomorrow.
OK, Harry, thank you very much indeed for that. Well, the Green Party wound up its election campaign saying it had brought hope to voters. Their co-leader, Carla Denyer, said it had broken through the conspiracy of silence from the other parties around the need to invest in our NHS and public services, and voters had responded.